only an expert can deal with the problem. Because half the problem is seeing the problem. And only an expert can deal with the problem. Only an expert can deal with the problem. So if there's no expert dealing with the problem, it's really actually twice the problem. Because only an expert can deal with the problem. Only an expert can deal with the problem. In America, we like solutions. We like solutions to problems. And there's so many companies that offer solutions. Companies with names like the pet solution, the hair solution, the debt solution, the world solution, the sushi solution. Companies with experts ready to solve these problems. Because only an expert can see there's a problem, and only an expert can deal with the problem. Only an expert can deal with the problem. Let's say you're invited to be on Oprah, and you don't have a problem. But you want to go on the show, and so you need a problem. And so you invent a problem. But if you're not an expert in problems, you're probably not going to make up a very plausible problem. And so you're probably going to get nailed. You're going to get exposed. And you're going to have to bow down and apologize and beg for the public's forgiveness. Because only an expert can deal with the problem, and only an expert can deal with the problem, and only an expert can deal with the problem. And on these shows, the shows that try to solve your problems, the big question is always, how can I get control? How can I take control? But don't forget, this is a question for the regular viewer. The person who's barely getting by. The person who's watching shows about people with problems. The person who's one of the 60% of the US population. 1.3 weeks away. 1.3 paychecks away from a shelter. In other words, a person with problems. So when experts say, let's get to the root of the problem, let's take control of the problem, because if you take control of the problem, you can solve the problem. Often this doesn't work at all because the situation is completely out of control. Because only an expert can deal with the problem, and only an expert can deal with the problem, and only an expert can deal with the problem. Now, sometimes experts lend you money, and sometimes they lend you lots of money. And sometimes when the subprime mortgages collapse, and banks close and businesses fail, and the crisis spreads around the world, sometimes other experts say, just because all the markets crashed doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad thing. And other experts say, just because all your friends are fired and your family's broke and we didn't see it coming doesn't mean that we were wrong. And just because you lost your job and your house and all your savings doesn't mean that you don't have to pay for the bailouts, for the traders and the bankers and the speculators. Because only an expert can design a bailout, and only an expert can expect a bailout. Because only an expert can deal with the problem, and only an expert can deal with the problem, and only an expert can deal with the problem. When it's really, 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 really hot, and it's July and January, and there's no more snow, and huge waves are wiping out cities, and hurricanes are everywhere, and everyone knows it's a problem. But if some of the experts say it's no problem, and if other experts claim it's no problem, or explain why it's no problem, then it's simply not a problem. But when an expert says it's a problem, and makes a movie about the problem, and wins an Oscar about the problem, and gets the Nobel Prize about the problem, then all the other experts have to agree it is most likely a problem. 'Cause only an expert can deal with the problem, and only an expert can deal with the problem, and only an expert can deal with the problem. Can invade another country and flatten it and ruin it and create havoc and civil war in that other country. If the experts say it's not a problem, and everyone agrees they're experts and good at seeing problems, then invading those countries is simply not a problem. And if a country tortures people and holds citizens without cause or trial and sets up military tribunals, this is also not a problem. Unless there's an expert who says, this is the beginning of a problem. 'Cause only an expert can deal with the problem, and only an expert can deal with the problem, and only an expert can deal with the problem. 'Cause only an expert can deal with the problem, and only an expert can deal with the problem, and only an expert can deal with the problem. Because only an expert can see there's a problem, and seeing the problem is half the problem. Because only an expert can deal with the problem, only an expert can deal with the problem. Sky flying over cities, flying over mountains. Sky flying, sailing over wide plains, pulling on the oceans. Snow flies around, snow flies around, snow flies around. It's falling on the circus, falling on the circus. Snow flies around, snow flies around, snow flies around. It's falling on my little hometown, falling on my little hometown. In the house, in the fire. In the house, in the fire. Snow flies around, surrounds my town. It knocks us down. It's falling on the circus, falling in my little hometown. Snow flies around, it knocks us down, surrounds my town. It's falling on the circus, it's falling on my little hometown. Can't believe I had such a beautiful baby. Can't believe I had such a wonderful life. Can't believe I had such a beautiful body. Can't believe I had such power and fear and strife. I was thinking of you. And I was thinking of you. And I was thinking of you. And then I wasn't thinking of you anymore.
Diego used to be a guard at the Museum of Modern Art. He was on the night shift. And his job was to go around the museum and tell people to leave. Or as he put it, snap them out of their art trances. People who'd been standing in front of one thing for hours. He would jump in front of them and snap his fingers. And he'd say, "Time to go. Time to go. Time to go."
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to London, Laurie Anderson.
This evening, I'll be reading from a book I just finished. And since a lot of it is about the future, I'm going to start more or less on the last page and tell you about my grandmother. Now, she was a Southern Baptist holy roller, and she had a very clear idea about the future and of how the world would end. In fire. In fire. Like in Revelations. Like in Revelations. Now, when I was 10, my grandmother told me the world would end in a year. So I spent the whole year praying and reading the Bible and alienating all my friends and relatives. And finally, the big day came, and absolutely nothing happened. Just another day. Now, my grandmother was a missionary, and she had heard that the largest religion in the world was Buddhism. So she decided to go to Japan to convert Buddhists and to inform them about the end of the world. Now, she didn't speak Japanese, so she tried to convert them with a combination of hand gestures, sign language, and hymns in English. The Japanese had absolutely no idea what she was trying to get at. Now, when she got back to the United States, she was still talking about the end of the world. And I remember the day she died. She was very excited. She was like a small bird perched on the edge of her bed near the window in the hospital, waiting to die. And she was wearing these pink nightgowns and combing her hair so she'd look pretty for the big moment when Christ came to get her. And she wasn't afraid. But then, just at the very last minute, something happened that changed everything. Because suddenly, at the very last minute, she panicked. After a whole life of praying and predicting the end of the world, she panicked. And she panicked because she couldn't decide whether or not to wear a hat. And so when she died, she went into the future in a panic, with absolutely no idea of what would be next. I went to an acupuncturist, and he said, "Do you work with electronics?" And I said, "Yeah, I happen to." And he said, "Well, let me polarize your watch for you, because electronics can really be dangerous." One, two. And he offered to come over and polarize my house, but I kept picturing these shelves and shelves of blank masters, and I said, maybe let's skip the polarization of my house. This filter here is a voice of
authority. It's the voice of a kind of shoe salesman, or of a guy who's trying to sell you an insurance policy you don't really want or need. Pirates actually invented ventriloquism. So I keep stuff like this around my house, you know, just to remind me of these kind of issues.
I use backup singers from boxes, electronic backup singers. These are some girls. And they come in. Well, I see by you right there that you are a cowboy.
Well, I see by your outfit, you're a cowboy too.
Well, I see by you right there, you're a cowboy too. This filter here is something that I was using in a song called Coolsville, and it has a delay like this, like this, like this, just repeats itself like that. And it's for a song I wrote for a film. I shot a film in Japan about people going to work, and you just see their faces in the subway, just watch their expressions, and I really loved watching this loop, and so I wrote a song about these people going to work, and it's called Coolsville. Hey, little darling, hey, I'm coming your way, little darling. You know, where you work is really important, and for me, I really like being in the clutter of my house, and so I like to work here. There's just a lot of good junk, and well, like this drum, for example. This is beautiful little ceramic drum, which I used for some basic tracks, and it goes like. It was one of those black cat nights. The moon had gone out and the air was thin. It was the kind of night that the cat would drag in. I'll never forget it. We had a fight. Then you turned around, turned on the light. You left our bed, then you moved downstairs to live with her instead. Yeah, just one floor and a shout away. I guess I should have moved, but I decided to stay. Did I drink some poison that I don't remember now? And every night I open all the windows, I let a cold dark wind blow through. I play loud organ music, and I talk to myself and dream of you. Uh-oh, I hear voices coming up through the pipes, through all the springs in my bed, and up through the lights. Volume goes up and drops back down. I can hear the two of you playing records, moving furniture and fooling around. Did I drink some poison?
Did I drink some poison
That I don't remember now.
that I don't remember now? Is the blood on my hands? No, my hands are clean. Did I do something in another lifetime that was really, really me?
Yeah, I'm hearing voices. Am I losing my mind? Think I'm going crazy, gotta get out.
Running into the street, start to shout. Get out of my way, get out, get out. Did I drink some poison that I don't remember now? Is the blood on my hands? Did I do something in another lifetime? It was really, really me. A small bullet, a piece of glass,
And your heart
just grows around it. A while ago, I was camping out in Kentucky. And I was sleeping out under this ledge. And about 3 a.m, I woke up. And the fire was out. But I could see 2 boots standing a few feet away. I crawled out, and there was a guy standing there with a musket. He said, "We eat critters." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Critters, squirrel, possum, night animals. We hunt them at night." He said he didn't think it was a good idea for a woman to be alone in those parts, and he invited me back to his house. I followed him and ended up staying a week. His name was Mr. Taylor, and he was married to Mrs. Taylor. They were also brother and sister, but they didn't think that was too strange because their parents were also brother and sister. There were 4 Taylor kids, Jack, Jim, Rhonda, and Jim, 2 Jims for some reason. We'd get up every morning and sort of hack around in the tobacco patch. And when it got too hot, we'd just sit around on the porch and sort of stare out. The landscape around there was completely desolate, except for the tobacco plants. Standard Oil had strip mined it in the 30s. And just when some vegetation was beginning to grow back, they discovered that a certain kind of low-grade shale could be converted to oil. So they came back in and drilled holes, very deep holes, hundreds of feet down into the bedrock. But they never got around to filling them in afterwards. They just sent down a shipment of manhole covers, but nobody ever bothered to put them over the holes. One day, Mrs. Taylor told me that she used to have another kid, but that he had apparently fallen down one of these holes. Her description was very abstract. Nobody tried to rescue him. He just fell down the hole. She said, "Well, one day I saw him out there, and I was watching, and then I didn't see him out there no more."
Well, I was down at the zigzag That's the Zigzag Bar and Grill. And everybody was talking at once. And it was getting real shrill. But I've been around the block, but I don't care. I'm on a roll, I'm on a wild ride. 'Cause the moon is full, and look out, baby, I'm at high tide. I've got a beautiful red dress, and you look really good, standing beside us. I've got some beautiful new red shoes, they look so fine. I've got 105 fever, and it's high tide. Well, just the other day, I won the lottery. I mean, lots of money. I got so excited, I ran into my place and I said, "Hey, is anybody home?" Nobody answered, but I guess that's not too weird, since I live alone. I've got a beautiful red dress, and you look really good, standing beside us, girl. We can take it, and if we can, we're gonna fake it. We're gonna save ourselves, save ourselves. We're gonna make it, and if we don't, we're gonna take it. We're gonna save ourselves, save ourselves. Well, they say women shouldn't be the president, 'cause they go crazy from time to time. Well, push my button, baby, here I come. Yeah, look out, baby, I'm at high tide. Beautiful red dress, and you look really good, standing beside me. I've got a little jug of rich and real wine, and we could take little sips from time to time. I've got some rocket updated news. I've got a little guitar and mechanical hits. I've got 105 fever. Okay. Hold it. I just want to say something. You know, for every dollar a man makes, a woman makes 63 cents. Now, 50 years ago, that was 62 cents. So, with that kind of luck, it'll be the year 3,888 before we make a buck. But hey, girl, we can take it, and if we can, we're gonna fake it. We're gonna save ourselves, save ourselves. Yeah, tell it to the judge. We're gonna make it, and if we don't, we're gonna take it. We're gonna save ourselves, save ourselves. We've got a fever of 105, and it's good. And look out, baby, it's high tide. Well, I could just go on and on and on. But tonight, I've got a headache. This is my dream body, the one I used to walk around in my dreams. In this dream, I'm in a hospital bed, and it's like a scene from a movie you've seen a million times. The doctor is holding a small pink bundle, and he leans over the bed and he hands me the bundle. "It's a girl," he says. "Isn't she beautiful? Look." And wrapped in the bundle I see the little face of my dog, a small rat terrier named Lolabelle. And no one says anything like, you know, this is not a human baby. You just gave birth to a dog. But I'm so happy. I put my head to her forehead and look into her eyes. And it's almost a perfect moment, except that the joy is mixed with quite a lot of guilt. Because the truth was, I had engineered this whole thing. I had arranged to have Lolabelle sewn into my stomach so that I could then give birth to her. And this had been really hard to do. Lolabelle wasn't a puppy. She was a full-grown dog, and she had really struggled. And she kept barking and trying to get out, and the surgeons kept trying to push her back in and sew things up, and it was really a mess, and I felt really bad about it, but it was just the way, you know, things had to be. Anyway, I kissed her on the head, and I said, "Hello, little bonehead. I'll love you forever."
A certain American religious sect has been looking at conditions of the world during the flood. According to their calculations, during the flood, the winds, tides, and currents were in an overall southeasterly direction. This would then mean that in order for Noah's Ark to have ended up on Mount Ararat here, would had to have started out several thousand miles to the west. This would then locate pre-flood civilization somewhere in the area of upstate New York and the Garden of Eden in New York City. Now, in order to get from one place to another, something must move. Now, no one in New York remembers moving, and there are no traces of biblical history in the upstate New York area. So we're led to the only available conclusion in this time warp, and that is that the Ark has simply not left yet. Now let's compare the situation to a familiar occurrence. You're driving, and it's dark, and it's raining, and you took a turn back there, but you're not really sure it was the right turn. But you took the turn anyway, and you just kept going in that direction. And eventually, it starts to get light, and you look out, and you realize you have absolutely no idea where you are. So you get out the next gas station, and you say, "Hello, excuse me, can you tell me where I am?"
You can read the signs. You've been on this road before. Do you want to go home? Do you want to go home now?
Hello, excuse me, can you tell me where I am?
In our country, this is the way we say hello. It is a diagram of movement between 2 points. It is a sweep on the dial. In our country, this is also the way we say goodbye. Say hello.
Hello, excuse me. Can you tell me where I am?
In our country, this is the way we say goodbye. It is shorthand for last night. You were here, but when I woke up in the morning, you were gone. In our country, goodbye looks just like hello. Say hello.
Hello, excuse me. Can you tell me where I am?
In our country, we send pictures of people speaking our sign language into outer space. We are speaking our sign language in these pictures. Do you think that they will think his arm is permanently attached in this position? Or do you think that they will read our signs? In our country, goodbye looks just like hello. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello.
And my eyes, they're looking all around. And my feet, I'm upside down. If I were the president, if I were queen for a day, I'd give the ugly people all our money. I'd rewrite the book of love. I'd make it funny. We love fortune. We love fame. 240 million voices. 240 million names. And down in the ocean, nobody goes. Some fish are fast, some are slow. Some swim round the world, some hide below. This is the ocean, so deep, so and then gajillions of stars start to shine.